Hello, this is Daryl.
And this is John.
And this is the Town of Orphaned Characters, a weekly podcast where we roll up characters to live in our town. Today, let's see what we make. Honestly, Pinky, I think we should make a character.
Yeah, well, first we should start with what have the other characters been up to.
Yes. And I've been busy with little kids this week, so I haven't had much time to think, but I do feel that our last character, Misty, the Triton, definitely has more of a beaver house. Like, we never really gave her an actual house, and I think she's been slowly building up on farther up the river to make her house.
Yeah, I think it definitely has an underwater entrance, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and could be a beaver style house or esque. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I don't think she likes having guests over that much. Like, I feel like she probably does like the people. Yeah, so I don't think she goes through and like invites people over, but she goes always over to the other houses. Like, she visits Sophia. She works with Red on things and like talks with him like philosophy style stuff about the law, and then has like her bickering going on with Cecilia. So
her house is kind of more like a crash pad because she's young. It's just a place to sleep. And she, maybe isn't that sophisticated in her ability to construct homes or whatever.
Yeah, I think she probably goes through and has Red help her out.
Yeah,
a lot with it.
Yeah,
because he probably has more technical skills with helping that out. So
yeah.
And I think probably by this time, we've probably seen some of them leave town for a couple weeks or something like that. Probably coming back with little trophies or things like that. Who knows when this comes out. Currently, we don't have anybody having adopted the characters, but maybe.
Yeah.
So they could be starting to decorate their houses with little trinkets and things that they meet to remember the little parties that they join in.
Mm-hmm. Their adventures, mementos of their times on the road. Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I think we're going to start seeing that kind of pop up. Maybe Sophia has like some foreign plants that she's growing and trying to keep them from being invasive. Cecilia has some kind of treasure that she stole but hasn't told anybody else about that may or may not bring doom to the town.
Yeah, Celia's just hoarding some weird artifacts. I like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, I feel like she's going to slowly evolve, and this may be something that we see if people play her this way, that she will evolve into like a museum curator, where she just like, yeah, I discovered this ancient temple, and look at this treasure I found, and the people are like, bitch, you stole that.
No, I didn't. I have an affidavit.
She's like, no, I found it. It's not grave robbing. I have a paper. Okay, let's go ahead and transition into how we make our characters. We roll up out of 30 possible races, and John is going to roll his D20. I will roll a D10, and we'll start building our next character through this.
Yes, let me get the dice
We've
out.
seen a nice little trend of non-human characters and in some very strange goblinoid aquatic plays coming in. So it's going to be very exciting to see what the dice foresee us to have this week.
Yeah. We don't have any normal people yet. We have lots of like diversity. We don't have any humans or like we don't have any like the basic races is what I was really trying to say.
Yeah, we don't have anything that would be considered like stereotypically fantasy.
Right.
We don't have your dwarf. We don't have your dragonborn. We don't have your elf. We don't have your hobbit or halfling in this case.
Mm-hmm.
And humans are just too boring. Like
yeah.
I mean, sure, you can have some vanilla bean, but wouldn't you rather have a little bit of a rocky road instead?
Yeah.
Sometimes, like,
or sriracha.
Yeah. Whoa. We ain't eating sriracha ice cream. That's weird.
I'd try it. I'd try it at least once.
I mean, I've tried some weird flavors of food in Japan, like shrimp flavored chips. I could see that happening. That's all I'm going to say on that. I'm not going to comment anymore. If you like sriracha ice cream, good for you. And you have a very interesting taste. I was thinking more of the fact that if you have an idea for a human character, adding just a little bit of alternative to it, be it dwarf, be it Triton, another human model like that, is not deterring from the human part, or like the humanity of the character, because all the races have quote unquote humanity going through it. Like they have feelings and emotions and empathy in regards to other characters and other races. It's just more like different. Like you get the vanilla and you get the nice chocolate like complexity.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be kind of fun to play a human who is raised by like dwarves.
Yeah, that's a nice one from the Drizzt series. Raised by dwarves or halflings or being a nomad or something like that. Whatever your flavor of ice cream you want to eat for your characters, it's fine. I just feel that unless you're running a statistically, I don't know, focused game, like you want to have a power level for your character, you want to have a world that is predominantly human, or some races are harder to come across, I don't see a reason to limit yourself unless there's a very good story reason.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think, humans exist to be kind of middle of the road within like the mechanic system, I guess. But
yeah,
I mean, if it's a fantasy role playing game, right? So embrace the fantasy.
Yeah,
don't be human,
or at least like understand that a lot of people, I feel, want to make a human, or they want to make this character design, and then they build like they have to use dwarves, elves, half orcs, halflings, things like that, and they choose a human to build their character around because they want it to represent this character that they imagine from I don't know, say making a Deadpool or making an X-Men style character in your game, and they use the human as a point of reference to build upon and min-max, or that they're like, oh well, I don't really feel like this would be a good elf or a good half orc style character. I'll just be a human. And it's like, oh, they want to make an edgelord or a particular version of a character. And it's like, there might be a race that works a little bit better with how you envision how creative your character could be. Like,
yeah, that's an interesting point.
Become a Genasi.
Right.
And have like flaming red hair and like red skin and deal with the issues of people looking at them strangely throughout the day,
Let's open that up to the listeners and just say, put in the comments or email us or tweet at us, like, if you like to play humans, what is the appeal?
Yeah.
And like, because I can understand, like, we're making an argument against it here, but I think there are arguments for it too. But I'd like to hear what people think, Jed. So
yeah, not knocking any way.
Or if you hate it, let us know.
It's not either way. I just feel like I'm already a human. If I'm going to play a fantasy game where I'm going to slay dragons and go dungeoneering into places that I have no clue how things function, that I might as well just be trying to exist as a different type of person or being.
Yeah.
And get a story driven from that point of view too.
Yeah, I agree.
So this all comes back to dice rolling, though.
Yeah.
John, do you have your D20?
I have my D20.
I have a D10. Right. Let us see what race we get. Ready?
Hopefully not human, right? Okay, I'm kidding.
Go.
That is a 19.
Wow. Okay, so this is going to take a moment and a huge editing. I think we got orc. Let me double check here. The magic of editing. We have an orc with a total of 24. So
nice.
24 is orc. Now this is interesting because in most settings, orcs are considered belligerent. They're considered aggressive. They are considered evil and are typically frowned upon in most, human and elf, and especially dwarf kingdoms.
Right.
They are seen as threats. allegorical to race divides in modern culture.
Yeah, kind of Lord of the Rings, right? Like where the orcs are the default bad dudes. They're just evil for some reason.
Yeah. That tends to be the trait for that. Like, I believe there's a historical context with the word orc in historical stories.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not 100% sure, so I'm not going to like quote or be demanding of that. But I think it derives from that, as orc is like some kind of demon or like monstrous creature in the past. But in modern fantasy, it became metaphorical and allegorical to certain races. And I have some friends who didn't complete doctoral degrees and like wrote their thesis on the race divides and allegories in D&D and role-playing games. You can go look it up. I'll look it up and post it maybe in the comments.
That would be cool.
But he did his whole thesis on this, so I'm not even going to touch this with a 10-foot pole. I don't have the expertise on it. But we do have an orc now. We have an orc, which means
that doesn't necessarily mean, we've discussed this in the past too.
Yeah.
You were kind of going around circling this, but what we're trying to say is that doesn't mean that automatically that this is an evil character.
Oh goodness, no.
Yeah.
The dice might make it an evil character, but
they might.
But it's not the race.
Right.
So he has some things that lend itself. The orc racial traits have things that are like skilled in intimidation, can move closer as a bonus action to an enemy, can count as one size larger, determining carrying capacity and weight, and has dark vision. An interesting part about this, though, is our orc here reaches adulthood at the age of 12 and can only live up to the age of 50. They're a very short-lived race. That's probably one of the reasons why they tend to be super aggressive. And I'm wondering if that is more like to live up to the age of 50 is more or less part of the cultural thing that most like D&D orcs, like they fight and they have to be strong and they always, so they don't grow old.
Right. They just have a shorter lifespan because they're more inclined to combat.
Yes.
Or dangerous things.
And their whole society is built around strength and dominance. And if you become weak, you tend to be taken advantage of. So, and they prefer to die in combat. They have their own like heroics and honor bound systems. So I think that might be the case for some of it.
Well, it's possible.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, just the younger age of maturity sounds like they might also just age faster.
That could also be the case too. Now, we have a D6 method of determining the gender expression of the character. One is agender, all the way up through to fluid at 6. If you're a long-time listener, you probably know but it's agender, male presents as female, male, female, female presents as masculine. Sorry. Masculine presents as female before, and in fluid.
Mm-hmm.
So I will roll a D6 and see what we're working with here. 5. Female presents as masculine. That is new.
Interesting.
For us. We have not had this kind of character yet.
I already love it, though.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of really interesting like role-playing opportunities with a character like that. Because, I mean...
Yeah. And you can explore all kinds of different aspects of his life, how they express themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we don't tell you exactly all the details of the character. So this could be simply as this orc dresses and acts as masculine in front of people, considers himself as male in personal spaces, are just in that terminology and the way that they demand respect. It's how you want to present it. But it gives a good, I like this kind of thing because it gives people the opportunity to create outfits and gear.
Like an aesthetic, yeah.
Yeah, a really nice aesthetic. More so than I feel like if you just say, because if we just do the typical male, female, we need to kind of describe them a little bit, I feel like sometimes. And in this case, it's so nicely, and we can evolve that as we build the character.
Yeah.
Now we have the age, which is interesting because normally we roll a couple of dice and add it together to get the age. So what I think this time, what we can do is roll a d4 each.
Okay.
Multiply it and then add it to the age, because I'm not sure if we try to do anything else.
Yeah. We're starting at 12.
Like, we might be able to do a d4 and a d6.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the cap at 50 is difficult to like vary the age on. So
I say we do D4s. I mean, the thing is, what we have to keep in mind is like the age of 12. It's 12 years, but physically, mentally, 18. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
hopefully, at least like
you can do some math there. Whatever number we come up with, you could figure out the human equivalent of. If that's easier to deal with.
Yep. Okay. Ready?
Yep.
1, 2,
2,
3. So 6. So actually 18.
Nice. Now, I'm tempted to do the math and find out what that is.
Like ratio wise.
Well, like what the human equivalent is, right?
And like, let's find out how old it is in human years. It's like dog years.
Yeah.
It's okay. I think like as far as maturity goes, we could say either he's matured faster, like physically, but maybe not mentally. This orc could also be like, again, physically mature, but not as socially mature or emotionally mature. So has outbursts.
I did some quick math.
Yep.
And commenters can correct me if this is wrong, but I just did some quick math and came out to 1.5 years. One orc year is equivalent to 1.5 human years. So if you take that, then 18 is equivalent to like 27.
Okay.
Kind of the way you figure out like cat and dog years and human equivalents. Yeah.
Okay.
So
as far as what you would expect for the point in life, like in other orcs' viewpoint, this would be your your adult, you're starting out homesteading style thing. You would expect a general aspect of knowledge of the culture, of how to maintain themselves in their society.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, he's definitely kind of grown up and maybe seen the world a little bit. Think about where you were at 27.
Yeah.
But not
lost.
Totally, not totally seen everything, and still has quite a bit to figure out.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think as far as in orc culture, this is somebody who you would see as having their job or having kind of an understanding of where they're trying to go in life.
Yeah.
But maybe not necessarily how to get there. Like they know what they kind of want to get. They want to be the chieftain. They want to be the raid leader. They know how to navigate in the society, but they don't really know all the details. They don't know how to like manage the food or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah. He's pretty confident in his skin too, but not.
Yeah. But if you took him and just chucked him into like, I don't know, a human city to like go shopping, he'd be completely out of his depth because nobody taught him that in high school, and he has to now pay taxes, and he doesn't know how to do human taxes. And why didn't nobody tell him this? And he has to change the cartwheel. Oh my God, why?
Oh no, Daryl, I think you're starting to relate.
Oh God. Yeah, no, yeah, so this character, he's definitely grown as in his own environment, but could be lacking in different types of skills or understandings that will come out as you play the character. Think about that, like where they're at in their life and where they're at in possibly their culture or whatnot.
Probably has massive student loan debt. Couldn't help it.
Do you think orcs would have student loan debt?
I mean, maybe.
Like you go into battle school, and if you don't collect enough ears,
depends on what his class is.
Because you don't have the weapons, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't know yet.
We don't know what his class is yet, but I mean, there could be a college.
Yeah. All right.
Or it could be if we were really going to take this idea and put it in the D&D context, it could be like an honor debt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because the orc culture, some kind of honor debt or.
Or that's how how the chieftain of small tribes manages and keeps, like when they get into larger tribes, or you're managing like multiple small tribes under a larger thing to keep the infighting out. The younger generation that comes in to become warriors don't have their own weapons, so they have to be like conscripted, or they have to like give a blood debt to like train and get their weapons, and then because of that, they have to pay it off by fighting in the orc army. All this is free reign for your world building. Have fun with it.
Enjoy those ideas, those little nuggets.
So next will be our alignment.
Okay.
And if you roll a d10, we will see.
Roll it. I've got to shake it first. There we go. I rolled an 8.
Okay. So we got an 8, which is neutral evil.
I think that just destroyed our hopes for this character, didn't it? I think we both wanted a nice, like a good orc.
Yeah.
But he is not a good orc. Neutral evil. Okay.
I found this interesting alignment chart that says like lawful good. It doesn't mean lawful nice. Neutral good, hero for hire. Neutral, when exactly did this become my problem? And the neutral evil is when you just don't care exactly where the XP comes from.
I get it. So neutral evil to me, it kind of is an alignment that sort of says they're very self-serving.
Yes.
Right. It doesn't mean that like I think the word evil sometimes and good people just immediately associate it with like your sort of regular storytelling tropes of good and evil. Right.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean this character is sitting there with a Snidely Whiplash mustache. Like, I'm going to pour hot tar on Sophia's head as soon as she comes outside. It's not that kind of
moral high ground
personality. That would probably be chaotic evil, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think that would be more chaotic evil. But I think
hot tar and feathers.
Yeah, I think you're thinking of like people associate the lawful good, neutral, and like chaotic evil, and the evil and the good as being like the moral high ground.
Yeah,
I think it's more a spectrum of lawful altruistic, neutral, and like lawful self-centered.
Exactly. Yeah.
Cecilia in our thing is lawful evil, and she bends the laws to benefit her first and foremost.
Yep.
Her viewpoint is self-centered, and she doesn't care if it might be detrimental to the Triton Society or whoever's relics she's looting to put into the museum. So I think this character, he does whatever he can if he wants it.
Yeah.
You know, we have to go clear this forest of the bears that are attacking the townspeople. Light it on fire. I'm not going in there fighting bears.
Yeah.
Well, that's where they grow their food. I don't care. Right. I killed the bears. Pay up.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So it's more of a that narcissistic kind of, I did what I wanted to do. I did it how,
right,
kind of thing. And he doesn't, and that could also be, you could play with that being, he appears to be neutral evil in, I don't know, human standards or Dorish honor standards or however the party is looking at it. But for him, it could be, he's very like, good. Like, this is how.
Right. This is my role in society, or this is how I've been taught is the appropriate way to behave.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can play with that. Don't be afraid of evil characters. Don't be afraid of having to play and step out and like try to be cold-hearted in a character. Don't be a dick to your table mates and like actively to seek to undermine them. But when there are choices with NPCs or interactions, just do like try to get the best for your character. Like,
think about what your character's motivations are and how like what their reasons are for doing things, and if it really is, well, they're just here to help because they want the gold.
Yeah.
Okay. Or if they have other motivations. Evil doesn't mean you need to act against the interests of the party or the campaign at large. You can still be playing an active role, within the story and moving things forward.
Just don't go trying to save all of the NPCs that you're like, oh, he's so cute, we gotta save him. No.
Yeah, you're not interested in saving anybody unless you're getting paid to do it, or there's a good reason to.
Oh, you're in a fire. I'll pull you out. You don't have any gold left? Go back in the fire. I'm not carrying you.
Right. That said, I mean, you can also have moments where the character maybe does have a change of heart.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and
that's or like I think I said in our first episode that I believe that it's okay to have characters sort of vacillate in their alignments and shift, depending. Like you can have a lawful good character have an evil moment.
Yeah.
If they're very upset, if it's very intense, you could have an evil character have a good moment.
Of course, like it. Just so think about all the people in your life who vary. Like it kind of varies into neutrality for humans, but like there are people who are very narcissistic or egocentric in life, and occasionally they'll do nice things for people because they want to feel good about it. They want to feel good that they're doing these things, but they do nice things. You can have those moments. Just recognize where your character's central base for reasonings is, and then you can work out from there. Now that we have our alignment and we have our age, we have our gender and our race, we need to check out our abilities and see what we kind of think is going to fit this character. And for those of you who are just joining us in, this is your first time with us, we roll the 46, keep the highest 3 method of generation. It's just more random and gives us better characters that make better heroes. Yeah. that's preference, all preference there. If you don't like the scores, if you don't like how we do it, you have to play in a standard array, or you're bringing it to a Adventuring League, feel free to adjust using the generation method that you have to use for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, John, would you like to do strength first, or would you like me to?
Don't I usually do strength first?
Yeah, but I mean, we can mix it up.
You can do it first. Yeah, why don't you do it first this time? I'll do after that. I'll do after you.
I don't like putting you on the spot all the time. Okay, so not bad at all. A 15.
Oh, that's pretty good
for an orc. Yeah, like that's gonna put us up to a 17 on that. Okay, let's see dexterity.
Okay, dexterity. Use the box.
Yeah, your box is nice.
All right, so a 6, a 5, a 4, and a 3. So that means we have a 15.
Ooh, okay, another 15. And I just dropped my dice. And it's a dark floor. So
editing time.
Nope. I have a backup.
Okay.
Always keep extra dice.
I just wanted to do the editing jingle.
Oh, do. If listeners, if you have a good jingle for us, sure. Constitution. That's not so good. That is an 11.
Oh no.
Okay.
That's probably, is that the lowest stat we've rolled, or have we rolled lower than that?
Let me see. Right off the top of my head, I think that is one of the lowest stats that we've rolled. We've rolled 11 before.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, we don't often get lower than 11, which is okay. Like that's a decent score nonetheless. Okay, intelligence.
All right, I will roll.
Roll high, John. Roll high.
Let's roll high intelligence. A 6, a 4, a 4, and a 3. So that's a 14.
Okay. Now the reason why I say that is because this is still a racially adjusted.
Oh yeah, so he's going to have some
negative.
That will lead to negative stat. I see. That's not particularly fair, but
yeah, I would like to look into the job class modifier system. I think that's an interesting concept, and I would like to look more into it on one. Maybe we'll do a bonus episode where we do a character using that method.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as wisdom, we got a 13, a 6, a 5, and a 2.
Oh.
Which is a very common one for us. And I have
charisma, right?
Charisma's our last one, yeah.
Okay. Let's give it a good shake. And then let's hope it's high, because maybe we can get some intimidation out of it or something. We'll see.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. 6, 6, 5, and 3. Ooh. So that is a 17. This is one charismatic orc.
So it's kind of funny. It dips down into the middle of the stats and then goes back up. So like we have this reverse bell curve going on.
Yeah,
a 2-point
like
bell curve. Or very high strength, very high charisma, very low intelligence and constitution and wisdom. But so the final scores for this character is he's got a strength of 17, a dexterity of 15, constitution of 12, intelligence of 12 now because of the racial modifier, a wisdom of 13, and a charisma of 17. So just looking at that, like that screams, I don't know, barbarian, screams fighter, screams sorcerer to me, paladin. I got another paladin,
warlock in there.
And warlock would be nice too. Yeah, not necessarily a hexblade warlock. It could definitely be like I don't know, some kind of like demonic warlock or something like that. Like one that uses his
charisma a lot,
genetic strength. Yeah. But like he can still do melee. But you're like, oh, he's a spellcaster. He can't do melee. He's like punches you in the face. And you're like, I cast fist. Bam. I cast fist again. Bam.
I love it. Magic fist.
So I and just looking at it, our orc who probably I'm thinking like Mulan style orc. Like this female orc didn't like her place in orcish society, didn't feel correct in it, didn't feel that however orcs present their gender or their gender roles was right for her, and felt better as
more comfortable
a male orc.
Passing as a male. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that kind of plays into, I feel, a lot of this, looking at the stat line, that kind of feeling of like having to assert their new personality, not necessarily new persona, but their correct persona, the way that they feel is the true version of them, with a high charisma, and they had to fight this, so they had to have good strength. You know? So
it fits.
I think that. Okay, so now we are going to be rolling on our classes, which is a D12. And particularly for this, I like to make John roll it.
Yeah.
Oh, no, we both roll, but I like to make John roll. And we take the best fitting job or best fitting class. Occasionally, we do roll the same number, as it happened with... Was it Misty that it was both? Yeah, it was Cecilia.
Oh yeah, Cecilia. We both rolled
a 2 for Bard.
A 2.
Yeah.
Destined
what do we do?
To be a Bard.
Destined to be a Bard. Okay.
Okay.
Let's find out. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
What'd you roll?
A 2.
I rolled an 11.
Ooh. So, Bard or Warlock?
Oh, you know what my answer is.
I think it's time to have a Warlock.
I think it is too. Absolutely. It's going to get complicated now because Warlock has the packs. And so, well, you don't choose that early on, do you?
No, that's a third level. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So maybe we can just speculate about which we think
the
would
same way
actually
that
be
we
the
did
best.
with Red Sora, and kind of we can roll up which pact the guiding philosophy is for this character. But if suddenly you need to change it up, or it doesn't fit the theme, or you don't know how to play it, like we move it towards the pact of the chain, and you're like, I don't know how to utilize this in a game because our game is melee focused. Switch it up. Like, feel free. Don't completely change the class, please. That would be silly. But so the first things first is our Warlock has proficiencies in light armor and simple weapons, and we get to roll up a skill. 1, 2. So we each roll a d6, and I will tell us what skill we have. What skills we have. And don't roll the same one as me. I got a 6.
I rolled a 4.
Okay.
I like how you said that after I had rolled. I was like,
So investigation and religion are the two.
Okay.
The two of it. Now we do get to choose an otherworldly patron.
Okay.
And there's 5 of those. I know there's a few in the Unearthed Arcana, but we're not going to deal with that. So John, if you roll a d6, a 6, I'll let you pick a number.
Pick a number, okay.
Yeah, so if you roll 6, you get to pick a number.
Okay, got it. I rolled a 5. So what is our otherworldly patron?
The Hexblade.
Nice. I'm digging it. That's the one I probably would have picked, too.
Which is funny because, like, now they have proficiency in medium armor and shields and martial weapons. And if we use a weapon, say, I don't know, like a rapier or something like that, our strength and our charisma are the same. So it doesn't matter which way we go on that, but we can make pack weapons. So that's cool. Now we have spells. We have 2 cantrips, and Warlocks have a lot of cantrips to choose from.
That they do.
19. So we have 2, so let's each roll a d20 and find out what we get.
Okay.
And you have?
17.
I have a 7. So let's go. Frostbite and Thunderclap.
Nice.
Okay.
Those are pretty good very, very combat.
Yeah.
Centric cantrips, and that's fine for a Hexblade Warlock.
Yeah, like the Thunderclap's really good for removing like small things from around you, Frostbite, until you get into melee range. Now we know 2 first level spells, and there are 1, 2, 3, 14.
Okay.
So I will roll a d4, and you can roll a d10, and we can see what we get.
Okay, cool. Let me find my d10. Where'd it go? There we go. A 4.
I have a 3.
So 7.
Hellish Rebuke.
Oh, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm. Especially at for a melee focused character, because like it's in response to being damaged. So, and one more.
Okay.
A sad little wind dice sound.
7.
And I rolled a 4, so that's 11. And we have Unseen Servant, which is a little weird.
See, that's the kind of warlock spell that I enjoy.
No, sorry. It's actually shield. I apologize.
Okay. Well, I forgive you, even though that's the kind of spell that I totally love as a warlock.
Well, so there's two things that we can do here. Either I count Hellish Rebuke in the count for the number, or I take it out and I count down to 11, which changes it between shield and Unseen Servant. So, John, I'm going to roll a dice. You call even or odd, and if it's the one that you call, it'll be Unseen Servant.
Yep.
Ready? Okay. What do you think it is?
Even.
It is even. It is a
Nice.
4. So it is Unseen Servant.
I'm down with that.
Mm-hmm. Unseen Servant is very interesting because you can give it just jobs to do.
Yeah.
And like fetching things and like going and catching things for you, or like, oh, go bring those keys from that prison cell over here. Like
that's sort of like a almost a mage hand type of thing, but not, because mage hand is also a cantrip available to. Yeah.
There's an interesting thing. Speaking of using it as like a mage hand kind of thing, in the campaign I'm running during this quarantine distancing issue with my group, there was a murder, but the murder, like the body parts and stuff like that, were in different parts of a cavern, and somebody made the mage servant or the unseen servant to go and like, they said, go and see if there's anything that's changed in the environment, and the unseen servant just like walks around because it doesn't know, it can't process, it doesn't have an intelligence. So like it went and checked all the bodies, like all the people sleeping, and it was like, no, everybody's here, it's okay. So there are limitations to it, but you know, now we are the Hexblade, and there are 3 packed boons that we could possibly go into. The chain, the tome, and the
blade.
The blade, yeah. Most people with the Hexblade tend to go into the blade.
Right.
And I've seen some interesting things with the Pact of the Chain, where you like make your familiar go in and like do touch spells for you, and you use them in more manipulative way. But it really depends on your play style and your group.
Right.
I think.
The scenario you were describing earlier, I was thinking that really to be able to check your surroundings and stuff, you need to find familiar. You don't want to use Unseen Servant to try and scout. You're just not going to get any information back from it.
No.
But find familiar, you can do all kinds of things.
Yeah. And the things with Warlock, with their Pact of the Chain. So speaking of the Unearthed Arcana, there are 2 other patrons that we could do. The Genie or the Lurker in the Deep, which I just think it'd be funny if the Lurker in the Deep was one that we got, because then it would be something like a Kraken or an ancient elemental water primordial or a monstrous like sea creature, and then we just have this like slowly growing like aquatic section of the town.
What's going on over there? Don't go over there.
Don't drink the water.
Why am I hallucinating?
When did I grow this tentacle on my back? What do you mean, Eldrazi? Like, but yeah, so you get the Pact of the Blade, the Pact of the Tome, Pact of the Chain. And the Chain is very interesting because you can make the attacks with it. Pact of the Blade, if you want to focus on the character's melee abilities and having magical items and combat focus. Home is interesting if you want to be more of a spell slinger with this character and make things like take more dodge saves and stuff like that. And we're not even going to get into the crazy not aspects, Eldritch invocations, because there's a huge chunk of that too. If we ever go back and do higher ranked characters, we'll definitely roll those in.
Mm-hmm.
But for now, we're leaving those to the side. You can pick what you need for in your campaign.
Yeah.
So I think the last thing we need to do, well, one of the last things we need to do is we need to roll up a background.
Right.
And then we need to roll up a name.
Yeah, we'll have to figure out a name.
Because he does not have a name yet. So the background, we have 17 possible. So a D20. Anything above 17 is going to be re-rolled. And I will let John do this because I get to see what he rolls. Right. He doesn't get to know what happens.
Right. I'll roll a D20, right?
Yep.
Okay. I rolled an 8.
Okay. Interesting. You got a haunted one. You are haunted by something so terrible that you dare not speak of it. You've tried to bury it and run away from it, to no avail. Whatever that thing is that haunts you can't be slain with a sword or banished with a spell. It might come to you as a shadow on the wall, a blood-curdling nightmare, a memory that refuses to die, or a demonic whisper in the dark. The burden has taken its toll, isolating you from most people and making you question your sanity. You must find a way to overcome it before it destroys you.
Okay, so I'm definitely getting some H.P. Lovecraft vibes from this because we've already talked about some of that, and now we have this sort of dark, traumatic secret.
So, like, you have some kind of weapon, or you have a patron that is let's take a step back real quick. For those of you who don't know, warlocks have a patron, and the patron can be very aloof or very centric to the warlock's character design and very involved in the character's story. Feel free to work with your DM to make that work. In this case, the Hexblade is somebody who has connections with the Shadowfell, and the patron is very mysterious, typically coming in the form of like sentient weapons or some kind of weapon-esque shadow-driven idea. So Haunted One is really cool because it could be something like a murderous blade that they made a pact with.
Yeah.
And like it took control of them and like slaughtered their tribe.
Yeah.
And he lost his entire tribe that way. Or maybe some kind of dark...
Or a family curse.
A curse on them. Could be that this orc, he's getting visions from the Orcish Guard in your world. Maybe the Orcish Guard is very vengeful and jealous and doesn't like it when the orcs stray from the path that it's trying to force onto them. And so now this character is dealing with this connection from the divine or from the magical world that connects, I don't know, your world to the gods. And it's taken a toll on the sanity of this character. That's
interesting. I like that idea. I mean, it almost gives me like a Lord of the Rings vibe, like how Sauron
created.
Saruman and Sauron are kind of tortured, or they torture their subjects, and like Frodo is sort of fearful of the presence of the Great Eye and stuff like that.
And that seems like it would be really cool. Like maybe this orc came from a peaceful tribe of orcs, sort of. Well, peaceful and like they weren't raiding and they were trying to make an orc society, and they were cursed or they were something terrible happened to the society by the god, and this warlock is escaped and is trying to make a name for themselves and trying to get back and like take down the connection that this overbearing creator figure has done onto the orcs. Could be something like that. Could also just be, maybe they had a run-in with a vampire. It could be something. It could be something as simple as this character ran into a high level monster or creature of very questionable morality and like, I don't know, a mind flayer or something like that, and managed to escape and is dealing with the trauma of that.
Or if you want to go the humorous route, it could be just a terrible ex.
Yeah.
That shows up stalking them wherever they happen to go.
Maybe if you're doing a like shonen or shoujo style campaign, or like that's how you like to play, like you had the romantic interest in the PCs or things like that. Maybe they're dealing with a bad breakup and they're trying to find their heart again. But like they keep being haunted by all these things. Like they go to like flirt with the NPC or another player character and try to build a bond there, and then has a flashback to this ex that they had, and like showing the true nature scared them away and they're traumatized by it. So it can be any number of things. This is a really interesting background. We do get to choose. Okay. So we get to choose 2 skills. And of those skills, we have 2 options. Arcana and survival. So we don't have to roll.
Okay. So we straight up have those.
But we do get to roll a D8 for the extra language that we know. And that could also influence our thing. So John, please roll a D8.
Okay.
And we'll see if this influences our background some.
A 6.
Primordial.
Okay, that's interesting.
Primordial is the speech of the elemental plane. Fire, earth, water, air. They all speak primordial, but they have different dialects. Which is kind of interesting because we also have a Triton, who the Tritons are specifically from primordial water originally, and fight elemental water spirits that are damaging the world. So him and Misty could probably go around and have like nice conversations in primordial and nobody else would understand it. They could have their own like bonding moments.
Yeah.
That'd be very interesting.
Yeah.
And now the suggested characteristics. The first one is personality traits, and we roll 2d8. So.
Okay. Let's see. I lost my D8. Here's one.
Don't you hate when that happens?
No, it's still in the box. That's what the problem was. All right.
I have a 6.
I have a 7.
So the 2 options that we got on the personality trait is I expect danger around every corner, and I refuse to become a victim, and I will not allow others to be victimized. Okay. That lends itself more towards the vengeful god or big creature that they ran into and it's haunting them style.
Yeah, he was a victim of some kind. Mm-hmm. Even a vampire could be that. You could play that out in multiple ways. Yeah. Right, but
so now, John, I'm going to roll a d6 and we're going to get an ideal.
Okay.
And a 5. Okay. I like to know my enemy's capabilities and weaknesses before rushing into battle. This is technically the lawful ideal, but I think that still works. Like,
sure.
Because if you expect danger around every corner and you are feeling haunted by some kind of traumatic experience, you're probably not going to rush headlong into things. You might make quick judgments.
Yeah, I agree.
But as soon as you spot a weakness or a flaw, like this character might move in. It's not like he's going to sit there and analyze the entire time. He's not that intelligent, but he's not going to like just smash. He's going to step back and go, okay, that thing can't turn quickly. So now Hulk smash from the side.
Yeah, and I think too, like this could play into his alignment a little bit in that he is perfectly happy to let the good characters rush into combat and get all beat up while looking for a weakness in the enemy. You know, no problem letting somebody else
do the dirty
deal
work,
with it while he sits back and waits for the right opportunity to strike.
And that fits also with the Hexblade too, where you're melee focused, you're combat focused spellcaster who wants to be in the melee, but you're not great at taking hits. You're great at dealing the damage, so you're just going to wait back, let your tank take a few hits, see how much damage you do, like with a basic weapon or something like that, and then go, okay, now I'm going to take my magical weapon and I'm going to hit you here, and like attack them from the back or something. Right. John, would you roll a d6 for the bond?
Okay. 5.
Oh, there's evil in me. I can feel it. It must never be set free.
Well, interesting.
So this is an interesting thing, and we haven't really touched upon it, but this could easily be a character that doesn't start out as being feminine, presenting as masculine. We talked a little bit before, like maybe they were ostracized or they didn't feel comfortable in the orc society. But this could very easily be a character that you give to a person or somebody uses as a proxy for going through their own transitional journey. So maybe this evil in me is the character begins the campaign as female, presenting as female, and feels there's something wrong and is like refusing to be who they really should be, and at some point has the epiphany that it's okay to set it free and starts presenting as male, masculine. And they go through that. Like, this is not like true evil. It's they perceive it as evil. They see it as wrong in them, and this is the journey that they're going to take.
Yeah, I mean that sounds really legit. Like, I think it's a very interesting avenue to take to take a character story arc. Yeah. My inclination is not to try and place any sort of alignment association with that stuff. So what my immediate thought was like, okay, this character is very self-aware in terms of his selfishness, and maybe he is not particularly honest with others about that. Like he could very well pretend to be altruistic for the sake of, like, I don't know, either making life easier in this part of the world or just in order to exploit other more naive characters,
or to make his life easier, like you said, in this world, because as an orc, maybe he has the prejudice against him, and he's trying to show, oh no, I'm really good, like, don't fear me, and really he's just doing it just so that he can like laze about by the river and not be bothered anymore, so he can have a very easy life.
I mean, I think if this particular bond would fit better with like a lawful good or even a neutral character, because it'd be easier to say, well, the whole orcs being evil thing, blah blah blah. But since this is already a neutral evil character, I don't really know what route to go with that other than what you suggested, and then maybe just kind of being like, well, this character super knows that he's evil.
Or going back to, because this is all in reference to the Haunted One background. If, say, this character had a run-in with an evil primordial elemental, maybe of water or something like that, and they like crushed the town, flooded it or whatnot, and this character survived, and they're marked, and they feel like whatever run-in with this creature or thing that is haunting their nightmares and haunting them with traumatic flashbacks, like, has marked them in the soul. And it's not so much there is, because our evil as far as alignments go is like self-centeredness. This isn't so much self-centeredness. This is like a destructive evil. This is doesn't care about
pure malice.
Doesn't care about it. Like, evil in the alignment chart is like doesn't care about the consequences as long as that person, the character or whatever, is benefiting from it. And in this case, this would be an evil that is maybe just doesn't care. It just wants to destroy, or it just wants to wreak havoc.
And then this character, his desire to keep that bottled up or to prevent that from escaping is out of self-preservation.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? He does not want to be consumed by this evil force.
Yeah.
And it could go. You could tie that in with the patron, the otherworldly patron. You could tie that in with the
hexblade, like
pact and stuff like that. The hexblade,
made the pact to like seal it in.
There's a lot of different directions you could go with this, but I do like your original suggestion as a character that is available for somebody who's going through a transition and wants to express that and explore that.
Yeah, totally.
Through roleplay. And that's a good idea.
So I'm going to, before we get going too much more into this, I'm going to go ahead and roll up the flaw, which is a 6.
Okay.
Which is, I talk to spirits that no one else can see.
Perfect.
Like, again, the dice know, man. They know what we need to give this character to finish fleshing it out. Like, talks to spirits that nobody can see. It thinks that there's some kind of evil inside of them that they're prevented from coming out. Because it's not, again, it's a perception. It says there's evil in me. I can feel it. Then it's not like for certain. It's just, I feel that there's evil. So, and I talk to spirits that nobody can see, and I'm seeing things. So this person might be they're a warlock. They're a little cracked anyway.
It's this is heavy Lovecraftian vibes here.
Super heavy. It would be even heavier if we had rolled the otherworldly Patreon instead. But the last thing we need to do is roll up a nice orcish name for our character.
Now, my name generator is full of just stuff like Urgoth and Dugorim and Zothkug. And I don't like any of those. I kind of let's see if I can find a more generic, like, because I don't feel like we should go with like,
hold on.
Gubnub, half orc names.
Okay.
Let me click on that.
I have orc names. We have orc names.
Nope, those are terrible.
We have orc names in the book. We're going to go straight from the book because there's a table with a D12, and I love it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So the most noteworthy orcs are given epithets by their tribe mates. But what we're going to do for this character, I think, is we're going to roll up a female name, one of the D12s, the male name, and the little title that they have. All of these are D12s.
Okay.
And that way, if you can't decide if you're going to start already transitioned as presenting as masculine, you can use the feminine. If you want to start the whole transition process with them and the journey there, or if you already want to take it from the male version and whatnot like that. So, John, do you have a preference of which name you're going to roll for? Or
no, not really. Whichever.
Okay, so roll a D12.
All right. I rolled a 12.
Jahrukk is the masculine name.
Jahrukk. I'm going to butcher it, so I'm just changing it.
Jahrukk. The female version, Ingong. Ingong. That's a very interesting version. And then, would you roll a D12 and we'll find out what kind of tribe name this character was given.
Okay. 10.
Spine Snapper.
Jahrukk the Spine Snapper.
Yeah, Jahrukk Spine Snapper.
I dig that. That is hardcore sounding.
Yeah. probably at some point in life, like in the tribe, somebody like was bad mouthing it. Like, Ingong is now Jahrukk. And then Jahrrukk's just like, you know what?
Yeah.
Bash you over my knee and like, what? Like, and then everybody's like, okay, Jahrukk Spine Sniper. Cool.
Don't fuck
Stay away.
Jahrukk the Spine Snapper. And I can't think of a more of a name that is better. I guess it more loudly says, do not fuck with this person.
Yes.
Oh man. Yeah. I love to hear how people might role play out how those names came to be. There's a lot of different ways you could do it.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be really interesting if somebody does pick up this character. Let us know what you decide to do and how.
Yeah.
What your story is there.
Yeah. I'm gonna find. There's no really good orc portrait, so please make a portrait for this character. Give it what you have. As always, we really appreciate you listening in to the show. We do need to figure out what Jahrukk is going to do in the town. I think next episode we will start with that and figure out how Jahrukk kind of fits into the town and how he came to be into our town, because I have a feeling that he's running and stops into this like small little like hut area, probably hiding out in the field or in Sophia's
or
forest.
Just pitched a tent accidentally on Sophia's lawn, or could be running supplies for Celia, right?
Could. Mm-hmm.
They could have an association there. Who knows?
Yeah. But we'll figure that out and see how he settles into the town in the next episode.
Sounds good.
Thank you all so very much for listening to the podcast. If you don't mind, please leave a like, subscribe, and share the podcast with your friends through YouTube, through Twitter. And, it really helps out a lot. Of course, if you want to support the podcast on Patreon, we'll put a link in the description below. That's a great place for you to adopt the characters as a patron. You'll be able to just find the character sheets there. You can find both me and John on social media. Me at Raging Cajun Studio at Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook, and at dmokun _, and between Mo and Kun on Twitter.
And you can catch me on Twitter, Twitch, and Instagram. My handle on all of those is Johnnacus with a 0. The O is a 0 instead of an O.
Again, thank you all for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one.